Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. Zhou was about to question Wei Junzi after he heard Wei Junzi describing him as a cunning old fox when he saw the beam of light as well. This the power of the birth charts? Zhou wondered out loud. Wei Junzi turned around to look at Zhou curiously. Your speech and temperament indicate you're not a new cultivator. How could you not even know this? Then can you control 3 energy swords? Zhou retorted. Everyone had their flaws after all. Fine, you win. Wei Junzi spread his hands helplessly. He really could not control 3 energy swords. The birth chart power is unique to the birth chart beast's life heart. This is crazy. Isn't this just announcing the location to everyone? In fact, Fengzai deliberately released the birth chart power and released the beam of light. The 3 elites from the Crimson Sun sect stopped in their tracks immediately. Withdraw. The trio withdrew their avatars. A frown could be seen on all their faces. It's too late. He wants to attract all the elites here. No. It's not easy to find the life heart of a birth chart beast, how can we just give up? The trio hovered in the air and continued arguing among themselves. It's too late. At this moment, flying chariots could be seen flying from the southeast, east, and northeast directions of the Skywheel mountain range. In the west, cultivators riding on huge beasts were flying over swiftly as well. At this moment, Fengzai laughed maniacally as he said, "If I can't have it, then all of you don't even think about getting it." The 3 elites from the Crimson Sun sect exchanged a look before one of them said, "Fine. The Crimson Sun sect might not obtain the life heart, but you'll definitely die." At this moment, the life heart was like a hot potato. Whoever was in possession of it would only attract trouble. In the end, the 3 elites from the Crimson Sun sect flew to a corner and waited for the arrival of the other elites. When Wei Junzi saw the elites coming from all directions, he exclaimed in surprise, "That person with the surname Liu is truly a cunning old fox. What an amazing trick. I really admire him." Zhou frowned and said, "Trick? Ha! I saw 3 great elites from Cloud Mountain fighting the Yong. Based on the situation at that time, Cloud Mountain should be able to kill the Yong. Therefore, there's only one possibility. This is all orchestrated by Cloud Mountain. The old fox probably wants to reap the benefits of the fisherman." Wei Junzi did not hesitate to voice out his speculations. "Why were you near Cloud Mountain?" Zhou asked. "Brother Liu, don't ask." "Then, why did you bring me here?" Zhou continued to ask. Those who came to the Skywheel mountain range and valley only had one objective, to obtain the life heart of the birth chart beast. Zhou could not figure out why Wei Junzi would ask him to follow him here. After all, an extra person was an extra competitor. A smile appeared on Wei Junzi's face as he said, "You'll know in a while. Don't worry, I won't harm you." At this moment, 3 flying chariots and an enormous flying beast appeared above Skywheel Valley. At the same time, the cultivators from the Crimson Sun sect flew up into the sky as well. Sun Jia of the Crimson Sun sect greets all the seniors. The trio from the Crimson Sun sect could acutely sense the formidable auras within the 3 flying chariots. Nevertheless, the trio was left standing for a long time. No one paid any attention to them at all. In the end, someone from the red flying chariot on the easternmost side broke the silence. "Hurl, there's nothing for you here. Leave." The cultivator riding the flying beast was muscular and had a strange appearance. Upon hearing these words, he did not object. Instead, he bowed at the red flying chariot and said, "Farewell." Hurl was a foreign tribesman. He knew the 3 flying chariots were from Great Tang. Although he coveted the life heart, he did not dare to fight for it under these circumstances. Therefore, he could only leave obediently. Meanwhile, the trio from the Crimson Sun sect did not even dare to breathe loudly. Similar to the red flying chariots, the other 2 flying chariots were magnificent as well. However, they were much bigger than the red flying chariots. At this moment, the atmosphere in the valley was incredibly oppressive. Coupled with the dim light of the dusk, it was even more stifling. At this moment, the person in the red flying chariot said in a slightly surprised tone, "The true Kunlun sect and the Void sect really have produced 10-leaf elites. Court Master Yu, it has been a long time since we last met." A voice rang from the true Kunlun sect's flying chariot in the northeastern horizon. "How rare for Court Master Yu to pay us a visit." A mocking voice rang from the Void sect's flying chariot following that. At this moment, the beam of light was still shining toward the horizon. It was this beam of light, the power of birth charts, that had attracted them here. The pillar of light was the power of their fates. It was the most enticing treasure that had attracted them here. All of them would gladly pay a huge price to obtain it. At this moment, the Sky Martial Court, the true Kunlun sect, and the Void sect surrounded the beam of light in a three-way formation. Meanwhile, the other sects and cultivators who arrived late at the Skywheel Mountain range could only watch from afar. Moreover, they did not dare to approach. Since the strong sects were there, how could they stand a chance at all? The atmosphere in the sky above the valley was heavy and silent. After a long time, Yuan'er, who was sitting in the red flying chariot, said without beating around the bush, "I'm determined to obtain the life heart. I'm willing to compensate the true Kunlun sect and the Void sect. Heart of life. I will not yield." Yuan'er, this elite, was really direct with his negotiation. Meanwhile, Wei Junzi grew excited upon hearing these words. He grabbed his companion before putting his index finger to his lips, gesturing to his companion to keep quiet. After Yuan'er finished speaking, a deep laughter rang from within the true Kunlun sect's flying chariot. "How does Courtmaster Yu intend to compensate us? This is the life heart of a birth chart beast, after all. I'm curious as well. How do you plan to compensate us?" Although it seemed like it was a three-way negotiation, it was quite obvious that the true Kunlun sect and the Void sect were on the same side at this moment. It was like a scene out of the Three Kingdoms. At this time, Zhou studies the huge flying chariots. There were quite a huge number of people surrounding the flying chariots. For these people to be able to negotiate with the Sky Martial Court so confidently, the two sects must have had a 10-leaf elite sometime over the past 2,000 years. Since the life heart of a birth chart beast had appeared, it was only natural that the two sects would no longer conceal their strength or bid their time. A desolate grade weapon, 10,000 supreme grade talismans, 5 heaven grade weapons, 3 top grade cultivation methods of Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism for each of you, Yuan'er said emotionlessly. The Sky Martial Court is truly rich and generous. Back then, the Sky Research Court created so many things. It really makes one envious, the person from the true Kunlun sect said. The foundation of the Sky Research Court still exists. Our Void sect is aware we're no match for it, the person from the Void sect said mockingly. Yuan'er ignored the two sects' sarcastic words and said, "Let's not beat around the bush. Just tell me if you agree or not." Court Master Yu, you're a little hasty today. It seems like it isn't enough just to send a person here, the person from the true Kunlun sect said again. The person from the Void sect said in agreement, "Well, it's not a surprise since we're talking about a birth chart beast and its life heart. However, a desolate grade weapon. I'm afraid. Powerful sects, naturally, look down on things below the desolate grade. Moreover, the Sky Martial Court had a strong foundation and did not lack these weapons." At this moment, Sun Jia from the Crimson Sun sect suddenly stepped forward and said, "Seniors, please allow me to speak. The life heart is now in the possession of a 9-leaf cultivator in the valley. He intentionally unleashed the power of the birth chart. This isn't the time to argue. If the power of the birth chart is exhausted, the life heart would lose the ability to help one activate one's birth chart. Why don't I go down and retrieve the life heart first?" There was no response from the 3 flying chariots. In the meantime, Zhou stroked his beard as he fell deep into his thoughts. He had to let those people fight among themselves. If the 3 forces successfully came to an agreement, his plan would have failed. Wei Junzi turned around before he raised his hand and erected a soundproof barrier. His primal chi did not fluctuate at all. He chuckled softly and said, "You act rather old-fashioned." Lu Zhou's gaze landed on Wei Junzi. After sizing him up for a moment, he said in a cold tone, "Why? Are you planning to scheme against me?" "Me? How could I be so bold?" "Brother Lu, you're too cautious." "Don't worry. Just watch," Wei Junzi said sheepishly. Lu Zhou did not respond and looked at the 3 flying chariots in the air. The negotiations between the 3 forces caused the atmosphere in the Skywheel Rift Valley to be oppressive and tense. At this moment, Wei Junzi said with a smile, "How could it be good if they don't fight among themselves? Let me tell you a secret, there's another birth chart beast in this Skywheel Rift Valley." "There's another birth chart beast?" Lu Zhou was moved by these words. At this moment, the 3 large forces did not dare to act recklessly because they could not be sure there was another birth chart beast. Lu Zhou had deliberately left the Yang's life heart to cause internal strife between these people. After all, there was no doubt the life heart of a birth chart beast would draw all the heavyweights of the cultivation universe here. However, he did not expect there to be another birth chart beast here. The Sky Martial Court is too strong. The true Kunlun sect and the Void sect are overestimating their strength. In fact, it's best for them to just accept the Sky Martial Court's offer. However, what do you think will happen if they know there's another birth chart beast in the Skywheel Rift Valley? Lu Zhou frowned. Even if there were 2 life hearts from 2 birth chart beasts, he knew the Sky Martial Court would want both life hearts. However, the other 2 forces definitely will be dissatisfied. Even if the Sky Martial Court decided only to take 1 life heart, the balance between the 3 forces would be broken. "You plan to break this balance?" Lu Zhou asked Wei Junzi without blinking. "This is the reason I asked you to follow me here." Wei Junzi brought a small green bottle from the inner pocket near his chest before he continued to say, "This is a pill that fakes vitality energy. It will take effect in a short time and the vitality energy would immediately attach itself to the user." Wei Junzi continued to explain, "This fake vitality energy is actually a smell-based potion. Beasts won't be able to discern the real thing from the fake, so they would definitely be attracted to this fake vitality energy." Following that, Wei Junzi handed the small green bottle to Lu Zhou and said, "So, Brother Lu, I'll have to trouble you." Lu Zhou asked with a slight frown, "You want this old man to be bait? Or else?" Wei Junzi spread his hands out with a helpless expression on his face. "Among the 3 of us, you're the most suitable, of the 3 of us, only you are the most suitable. Moreover, don't refer to yourself as an old man, you're really not that old. Why would you call yourself an old man?" Nevertheless, Lu Zhou took the green bottle. Wei Junzi continued to say, "Previously, I've investigated this valley. When we fight, you can open this bottle. At the end of the day, what treasure you manage to obtain will depend on your luck. What do you think? You can open the bottle yourself. Why do you need me to do it?" "The birth chart beast is too powerful, I don't have the courage to do such a thing," Wei Junzi replied. As soon as he finished speaking, he removed the barrier. Subsequently, he made a soft shushing noise and waved his hand, indicating they should be silent lest they alert the people in the flying chariots of their presence. His expression clearly said that if they were exposed, all of them would die together. Lu Zhou remained silent and continued observing the situation in the air instead. In the red flying chariot, Yu Qinshu said calmly, "Humans should not have too big of an appetite like a snake that intends to devour an elephant. Does the true Kunlun sect and the Void sect even have a desolate grade weapon?" The person in the true Kunlun sect's flying chariot replied, "Courtmaster Yu, you worry too much. I'm sure it won't be difficult for us to obtain at least 1 desolate grade weapon. Moreover, I'm certain your Sky Martial Court isn't lacking in desolate grade weapons." The person from the Void sect chimed in as well, "Courtmaster Yu, 2 aren't too little, and 3 aren't too much. We're talking about the life heart of a birth chart beasts. Please consider this matter carefully." The person did not conceal the mockery in his tone when he spoke. However, how could these super elites fight just because of 1 or 2 sentences? 2 desolate grade weapons each. This is my final offer. Yu Qinshu's voice drifted out from the red flying chariot. All right. The person from the Void Sect agreed first. However, at this moment, the beam of light suddenly disappeared. The three cultivators from the Crimson Sun sect looked at the same time. Then, Sun Jie shouted, "Seniors, don't let that person escape." A calm voice rang from the red flying chariot. "He won't be able to escape." Subsequently, two figures flew out from the red flying chariot and dove into the valley. Two people flew out of the red sedan and dived into the valley. Mo Bian? Jian Tingzhong? Sure enough, Yu Qinshu was not the only one from the Sky Martial Court who came here. Meanwhile, the two elders from the Sky Martial Court moved at lightning speed. The sound of resonance of avatars being manifested rang throughout the valley. The beast scampered away, and the birds took flight immediately from the disturbance. At the same time, the trees were flattened. Meanwhile, Feng Zai, who was holding the life heart, hurried deeper into the valley. He could not allow the three forces to come to a peaceful agreement after all. If that happened, he would surely die. Only by taking advantage of the chaos could he escape. If he was lucky, he would be able to escape not only with his life intact but with the life heart as well. Feng Zai's eyes widened when he looked up and saw the two avatars flying in the sky. Then, he looked at the three flying chariots resentfully and muttered to himself, "The Sky Martial Court is really useless. They didn't even bother to fight and attempted to negotiate instead. Yu Qinshu is really magnanimous." Among the elites in the Sky Martial Court, Mo Bian and Jian Tingzhong were the strongest nine-leaf elites. Meanwhile, the trio from the Crimson Sun sect was dumbfounded as they watched the scene unfolding before them. They were nine-leaf cultivators as well, but the difference between their strength and Mo Bian and Jian Tingzhong's strength was like heaven and earth. Each of the elders from the Sky Martial Court wielded a desolate-grade weapon, a hook and a saber. They did not hesitate to destroy the valley just to search for Feng Zai. It really had to be said that the foundation of the Sky Martial Court was really strong. Even elders possessed a desolate-grade weapon each. No wonder Yu Qinshu readily agreed to part with 4 desolate-grade weapons, giving 2 desolate-grade weapons each to the two forces, in exchange for the life heart. At this moment, Feng Zai's voice rang from the depths of the valley, "If anyone comes over, I won't hesitate to jump into the valley's abyss." Jian Tingzhong and Mo Bian stopped in their tracks as they looked ahead. In the end, Mo Bian said, "Hand over the life heart, and I'll spare your life." "No. I risked my life to obtain the life heart. Why should I give it to you?" Feng Zai replied defiantly. "You're seeking death." Just as the duo from the Sky Martial Court was about to make a move, Yu Qinshu, who was still sitting in the red flying chariot, raised his hand and said, "Hold on." Mo Bian and Jian Tingzhong were naturally obedient and no longer moved. Yu Qinshu calmly asked Feng Zai, "What do you want?" Feng Zai sneered, "What can you give me? A flood-grade weapon?" Silence descended in the valley immediately. Everyone was shocked by these words. Yu Qinshu's magnanimity and determination to obtain the life heart far exceeded everyone's expectations. He was actually willing to give up a flood-grade weapon. One had to know, the value of a flood-grade weapon in the hands of a nine-leaf expert far exceeded the value of a life heart. Was there anyone who would not be tempted by such an offer? However, would Yu Qinshu really keep his words and hand over a flood-grade weapon after he had obtained the life heart? Feng Zai scoffed before he said, "You think you can trick me? If anyone dares to come any closer, I'll throw the life heart into the abyss." No one would be able to obtain it at that time. Yu Qinshu frowned. Things were truly complicated and ever-changing. After he thought he had successfully dealt with the people from the True Kunlun sect and the Void sect, this person suddenly appeared to complicate matters. Meanwhile, Zhou, who was still hiding, frowned. Hey, I'm the one who obtained the life heart and intentionally left it there. How can I really lose the life heart?" At this moment, Wei Junzi suddenly said, "I'm sorry." Without any explanation, Wei Junzi took out another green bottle and smashed it against a stone. When Zhou turned around, he discovered Wei Junzi possessed more than one green bottle. Crash! A loud noise rang in the air as the green bottle smashed against the stone. Naturally, the noise did not escape the attention of the powerhouses in the sky. Who's sneaking around? A voice rang from within the Void Sect's flying chariot. Needless to say, Wei Junzi had already expected to be exposed once he threw the green bottle. He only waved at Lu Zhou and said, "Till we meet again." Lu Zhou raised his right hand. His fingers glowed as he grabbed Wei Junzi's shoulder. "You dare to scheme against me with such petty tricks?" Wei Junzi's expression changed drastically. He could inexplicably sense the danger in the glowing fingers. After all, he had moved at lightning speed to flee, and yet, he was easily caught by Lu Zhou's glowing fingers. Lu Zhou turned back to have a look before he pushed his hand out. Bang! With just a strike, Lu Zhou destroyed their cover. Just like that, he, Wei Junzi, and his companions were completely exposed. Wei Junzi's eyes widened in shock and fear. You. Why are you doing this? Hurry up and let me go." Meanwhile, everyone's attention was focused on Lu Zhou, Wei Junzi, and his companion. From the Sky Marshal Court's flying chariot, someone said in surprise, "Wei Junzi? Why are you here? This is a misunderstanding." "Truly. I'm just here to watch the show. Don't mind me. Please continue with what you were doing," Wei Junzi hurriedly said. However, how could he leave? He was firmly grabbed by Lu Zhou. Following that, everyone shifted their attention to Lu Zhou. Lu Zhou looked up at the three flying chariots and said, "The Sky Marshal Court is really wealthy and generous. Since you want the life heart, why don't you compensate me as well?" Mo Bian and Jian Tingzhong frowned immediately. Wei Junzi gave Lu Zhou a thumbs up and said, "You're really awesome. You even dare to demand something from the Sky Marshal Court." Contrary to everyone's expressions, Yu Qinshu, who was sitting in the red flying chariot, said casually, "Everyone who's present today will be compensated. Since you want it, I'll give you a heaven-grade weapon." The Sky Marshal Court truly lived up to its reputation. They were rich and generous. Wei Junzi, who had heard these words, felt that it was a good offer. However, at this moment, Lu Zhou's voice resounded loudly, "It'd be best if it's a flood-grade weapon." Wei Junzi.